Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining Witch Talk. My name is Audrey. Of course, I am your glorious host. And I am so happy to spend time with you guys and tell you a little bit of my story when it comes to how I came across the path, how I started my journey into magic, and how Christianity played a part in it. I know, crazy, right? So what we're going to do is dive right in, but a couple of quick announcements. Thank you so much for the love that you've given us, especially about the new studio. Thank you so much for the love that you've given us when it came to the new logo that dropped today. It was created by yours truly, so I definitely appreciate the love and the happiness about that. So, yay! There will be an article on Witch Talk dropping on the blog in the next couple of days, so keep an eye about that. It's going to be dedicated. We're going to do this article series dedicated to different types of magic and giving you the 411 on that. I know I'm showing my early 2000s education there. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So when I was younger, I was constantly in the church. Whether it's through my grandparents on my biological dad's side, which I'm not very close to, they were in the church every time the doors were open on Sunday. But they were the kind of church people that weren't really spiritual. They were just ritualistic. They woke up, they bought Jack's breakfast, we got ready to go to church. We went to church, we came out, my grandmother cooked something, but it wasn't any deep spirituality. Looking back on it now, I really think it was kind of just what was expected and, that kind of a thing. Versus my mom's parents, who were deeply spiritual and deeply religious. My Nana, I've mentioned her before on Witch Talk, and she really gave all her love. She taught me how to do everything. You could actually see the amazing morals that came from Christianity at its rawest of form, before Constantine decided to evict in, rich man, dominant race, wash everything. And it was it's absolutely incredible to be able to see that. Now, when I was growing up with my mom and my father, of course, was a pastor. I know, pastor's daughters. I heard all the jokes. Cut it out. But we were always in the church doors, and I was very active in the church also. I've always had this sense of very deep spirituality when it came to just in general. But I always knew Christianity didn't fit. I was very, you see all these witch memes, if you were a kid mixing potions with trees and leaves in the back of your yard, yes, that was me. If you're obsessed with the moon and the sun, yes, that was me. And I always had this deep spiritual connection when it came to nature or animals, and when it came to feeling when I was outside and among the rocks and the trees, I felt this deep connection. It's like roots of a tree, and I could feel the energy shifting from one living thing to another, and I knew it since I was little. I knew it. Now, as I got older, I continued, I got saved when I was super young at a Lord of the Rings vacation Bible school. I know, right? How to catch all the nerd generation. Then to a Lord of the Rings vacation Bible school, and Frodo was included. And I just continued because I thought that was the only path. That was the only spiritual path that I was taught, of course, because I grew up in a predominantly Christian family. And I was just okay, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be Christian. And, but I never drank all of the Kool-Aid, if you know what I mean. There are some things that I really disagreed on, and that men were ahead of women. Women couldn't take leadership within the church. besides a supporting role for a man, a pastor, something along those lines. Especially in the church that I grew up in, that women were, men were the head of the household and women were to submit to men, and all these kind of interesting and completely ridiculous things. And those are things that I did not agree on with at all. Point blank period. The feminism streak in me went deep. And then it shifted to, but I sat there and I ignored it because I was like, well, eventually it'll change. It's been steeped for thousands of years in Christianity. Well, about 2,000, 1,500 years of Christianity. And it hasn't changed yet. So, the hopeful optimism of youth. And so it went from there to me being very active in the youth group. Now, youth group, when we moved to this new city, which is a city that I originally lived when I was super young, where it's my grandparents that used to live, and we moved there and we got involved in the church. We went, well, every Southern Christian couple did. We went church shopping. We picked one church, then we did another church, and then, so we finally settled on this church. Dad started teaching a Sunday school class. I got involved in the youth group. Me and Mom helped out with Vacation Bible School. My little sister was always in, Sunday school class and things along those lines. And they were grooming her to follow into the family footsteps of taking on leadership roles within the church. Well, here's the deal when it came to all of this. When I was their youth group leader, I attracted what a lot of people would call misfits. Which really, they weren't misfits. They were just didn't fit in the typical mold of what you want as a Christian child. These were children that were highly intelligent, very amazing individuals, incredibly strong thinkers, very liberal thinkers. People that absolutely, that I still love and talk to today. And you know exactly who you are. And I'm so proud of the women that you've become. And that's who I was assigned to, because those are the kids that I related to the most. And those are the kids that I loved the most. I mean, I loved everybody. But, I mean, these are the kids that I really wanted to pour into and, mentor. And as I got older, I remember that I was like, this just isn't for me. And I remember exactly the day that I heard that God is calling to me. And I will tell you this day. My oldest sister, and me and my older sister are not exactly incredibly close now, just due to personal decisions and lifestyle changes, As you get older, you just grow apart. But she had this high school friend who was a witch. And when I laid eyes on him for the first time, when he fully accepted his calling into the craft, I was just mesmerized. And there was one day when I was 15 that he did my tarot reading. And that was the day when I heard the call. Now you have to realize, ever since I was little, about 11 or 12, I started reading up on witchcraft. Yes, I was obsessed with Harry Potter. Yes, I knew it completely was fiction. Yes, I understood magic, how magic wasn't everything, Disney, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, whatever. But I really wanted to research what real magic was like. And I started picking up books, and I started reading, and I started researching tools before I even accepted the calling. And I just accepted the calling because that's exactly what I heard. I heard like a sailor and a siren. I just heard that song, and it just resonated with me in everything that I was. So he did my tarot reading, and the Queen of Cups came up. And I just saw it. I saw it, and I heard it, and I started becoming a in-the-closet witch. Now, I will say for a couple of years, I was Christo-pagan. Christo-pagan is the New Age term for a Christian witch. Because witchcraft, you can plug into any religion. It is a spiritual path. It does not have any religious rules that go along with it. So I became a closet Christian witch. And that's when I really started embracing what was given. And it was absolutely incredible for me. And I went from there to living on my own and really discovering who I was and really practicing. And then I was about 20 when I came out of the broom closet. Everyone could see little, like, they could read the signs, they saw the crystals, they realized I wasn't going to church and I wasn't going to be in church. Like, I stopped going to church when I turned 18. When I moved out of my parents' house. So they knew. My dad still tried, but he was like, have you found a church yet? Have you found a church yet? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to church. And then slowly he started to accept it. And it was just one of these amazing paths that I just, like, the more I learned about the goddess and the more I learned about the things that were taken out of Christianity and filtered out by patriarchal, power-obsessed men, that's when I came across Lilith. Now, of course, I studied mythologies. I already know Hecate was one of my patronesses. But when I met my husband, he had a book called the Book of Nod next to his bed. Now, if you know what the Book of Nod is, the Book of Nod based on Vampire Masquerade, one of the role-playing games that I absolutely love and adore. And if you've never played it as a D&D player, you need to. You desperately need to. I don't think you know how important this is. Play it. It's awesome. Little nerd rant for the day. Moving on. And I started reading and researching Lilith and who she was. And then I started really digging into it and finding out her story and how she was Adam's first wife and how she refused to bend, to be subservient to Adam, and how she was actually more than equal to Adam. She was beyond equal to Adam. She was actually equal to Yahweh, which is the Christian God. She left the garden because she did not want to be obedient to a man. And she started falling in love with demons, reproducing and falling in love with an angel named Samuel who didn't pick a side in the Holy War. So he was cast out of heaven for not picking a side. And they found each other. And they fell in love. Now, a lot of people are confused. They're like, oh, well, Lilith's like Lucifer's, like, lover. No. You have to realize, Lucifer, Satan, and Samuel are 3 different people. 3 different spirits. Also, a lot of witches don't believe in Satan. A lot of them don't really believe in demons. But, with my eclectic path, I believe that demons and angels are the same race, just on different sides. They do 2 totally different jobs. And that's my personal belief. And when I started really studying Lilith, I realized that she embraced her power as a woman. She embraced her power when it came to being a wife, a mother, a lover, a seductress, a protector, a fierce warrior. She was all of these things and all of this confidence that I wanted. And she was the woman that I wanted to become. And I heard her call. And I really simply, one night, in the middle of my living room, right after I moved in with my husband, who wasn't my husband yet, and I was like, I was just really straight up and asked, are you freaking real? And it, I had this incredible certainty, as certain as I breathed, that this goddess was real. And she's my patroness to this day. She gives me strength, and she consciously teaches me. She taught me how to be a confident, self-loving woman, how to be a strong woman in a man's world, how to not submit or be subservient to anyone just because they have a penis. She also taught me how to be more understanding, more compassionate, more loving, how to be a better woman, how to be a better person, and how to play the man's game by my own rules. And then a couple of years later, she taught me how to be a wife. A real wife. A partner to a man. And how we are partners. And how we go and we fight against the world. And how we constantly become better together. She taught me how to be a healer. She taught me to expand my mind in magics that I've never understood before. Whether it's astral projection, blood magic, sex magic. Whether it's different types of healing, alternative healings like Reiki, or whether it's like energy readings and things along those lines. She made me a better witch, a better woman, a better wife, and now she's teaching me how to be a mother. Right now on my path, I am getting ready to, whether in a couple of years, become a physical mother. But right now, I'm a spiritual mother to a lot of different people. And I love all of my babies. All of them. And right now, that is what I am learning. As you grow as a woman and as a witch, especially a female witch, you constantly are going between these three phases. Maid, mother, and crone. Maid is like the fool. She's new to life. She's sexual prowess. She's freedom. She's adventurous. She's naive. She's happy. And she's just living life. I think of her like in her early 20s. Or in her college years. Where she's just living life. And she's just learning lessons. And she's just embracing everything at full force, like a comet in the sky. Then I think the mother. The mother is someone who's a healer, a spiritual protector, a lover, someone who wants to constantly nurture. The way I see it is that she is Mother Gaia. She's constantly growing, she's constantly healing, she's constantly looking out, she's constantly loving. And then as you approach the last phase, which is crone, and crone is a wise woman. They're to pass down eons of knowledge to the future generations to give them a more easier time. And those are the 3 cycles that a woman constantly goes through. And I have been through them multiple times. But this has probably been the most challenging and the most rewarding cycle I've ever been in. As of yet. And that's one of the things that I love. Is that I'm constantly learning from my patron and my patronesses. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly appreciating different types of, say hi to Azrael. Everything has a place, everything has a balance, every type of magic is used for different reasons and different times. I'm gonna let you go now. Okay, Tiny? There's a place for everything, and it's about balance. There are moments where the world will burn, and there are moments for rebirth and growth, just like the phoenix, who dies and bursts into flames and rises from its ashes. My cat's being weird.
What are you doing, weirdo? Come on.
Weird cat. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, you'll actually be able to see me fight with her as she does things and gets into things. That's what I get for naming her after the angel of death. Isn't that right, Tiny? And also I'm going to go over my Baby Witch series on choosing a Pantheon and choosing how to choose a Pantheon and how to properly know when to relate. And that's something that will definitely go over my Baby Witch series. You know, animals are very sensitive to energy shifts, and I'm just sitting here watching my cat be weird. Am I the only one that's experienced this with animals? Like, when you're a witch, you have animals just flooding towards you and stalking you, and then, like, your animals act weird during different, like, energy surges. It's just crazy to me. Really crazy. So that's the generalization of like what I've gone through and my small little story when it comes to witchcraft. Now I'll get into more detail as you realize as I start talking about different types of magic and how I came into it, how it can be useful, and some of the best reasons to use it. I'm going to go over a lot of love and light magic first before I hit any of the big, real bang stuff. So kind of keep a lookout for that. Thank you guys so much for listening to my journey into witchcraft. Go ahead and keep your eye on the blog and the Facebook and the Instagram and the YouTube channel. This will be going up. I'll be posting this in a couple of minutes. Thank you guys so much. I love you very, very much, and I will talk to you soon. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.